Have you ever felt alone, even when surrounded by people? Have you ever looked at others, sharing laughter, friendships, and stories, and asked yourself, why can't I have someone like that by my side? Today, in this video, we're going to dive deep into this question that touches the hearts of many. Why don't you have friends? But pay attention, this is not about superficial answers, social techniques, or magical formulas. What we are about to discover is something much greater, something that involves purpose, faith, and God's plan for your life. Maybe the reason you feel lonely is not a flaw within you, but part of the path God has chosen for you to walk. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll not only understand the causes of loneliness, but also recognize powerful signs that you are someone special, someone chosen by God. And that completely changes how you connect with the world and the people around you. Many times, we think loneliness is an external problem, something that depends on having the right people around us or being in the right social places. But the truth is, loneliness begins inside of us. Before we look at others, we need to look within ourselves. And this is where the importance of spiritual self-knowledge comes in. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, how do I really feel about myself? Or what within me might be pushing people away, even without me realizing it? Often, not having friends is not a sign that you are incapable or less worthy of love. In fact, it may simply be a reflection of the unique path God has designed for you. God's chosen ones do not follow the crowd. They have a purpose, a mission, and many times the very process of isolation is a preparation for you to grow, mature, and become stronger. It is in that space of solitude that you learn to hear your own voice, to develop patience, and above all, to hear the voice of God. And here's something very important. Feeling lonely does not mean you are forgotten or rejected. On the contrary, God often allows moments of distance from people so that you can connect deeply with Him. It is in this time that He works on your character, shapes your thoughts, and prepares you for relationships that truly matter, those that are not superficial, but real, lasting, and filled with purpose. So, if today you feel like you don't have friends, know that it's not by accident. Every moment of solitude is an opportunity for growth, an invitation to reflect on who you are, what you value, and who you are becoming. And believe me, when God places the right people in your life, you will understand the purpose behind every moment of waiting. When God brings people into your life, they will not be just friends. They will be companions of the journey, chosen by Him to walk by your side. Before we continue, I want to invite you to do something simple. If you're enjoying this video so far, click the like button to help more people find this content. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos about faith and purpose, and leave a comment below sharing. Do you feel lonely, or have you gone through moments like this? I truly want to know your story and walk alongside your journey. Now let's move forward, because the deepest part is about to begin. Let's understand something that many people fail to realize. Not having friends is not always a problem. Sometimes it is actually a sign that you are chosen by God. I know it may sound strange, but think about it. God's chosen ones do not follow the crowd. They don't mix with just anyone out of convenience or fear of being alone. They carry a greater purpose, and solitude is part of the preparation. In His wisdom, God often places us in moments of separation, not to punish us, but to strengthen us. It is in this period of silence that He shapes our character, teaches us patience, and helps us develop spiritual discernment. While the world runs after superficial relationships, you are being prepared for connections that truly matter, friendships that do not break with time, relationships built on sincerity, loyalty, and a divine purpose. And it's important to understand, this is not about being better or worse than anyone else. Not having friends in this moment is, in reality, an opportunity to draw closer to God and discover who you really are. Every challenge, every moment of loneliness is God's way of saying, I am preparing the way for you. Trust my timing. So if you feel alone right now, do not despair. Look within, strengthen your faith, and understand that the absence of friends today does not mean the absence of love or purpose. On the contrary, it may be the beginning of something much greater that God is about to unfold in your life. Let's talk now about something essential, the importance of true friendship. Not every companion we meet along the way is truly a friend, and that's where many people get confused. Having friends is not just about having someone to laugh with or spend weekends together. True friendship is on another level. It is a bond that touches both the heart and the soul. It is that person who stands by your side in difficult times, who corrects you with love, who understands you without needing a single word. And do you know what is even deeper? The Bible shows us that relationships like this are rare and precious. Remember stories such as David and Jonathan, a friendship built on loyalty, respect, and faith. This teaches us that real friendship is not about quantity, but about quality. And many times, God prepares us to meet these special people only when we are ready to value and respond to that connection. That's why, if today you feel like you don't have friends, it does not mean you are incapable of building deep relationships. It means you are still in the process of becoming someone who can cultivate genuine friendships. Temporary loneliness teaches patience, humility, and discernment, essential virtues so that when the right person appears, you are ready to connect heart to heart. And here lies the crucial point. True friendship is not only about human companionship, but also about drawing closer to God. The more you develop your faith, the more you learn how to relate to others in a sincere, loving, and purposeful way. Because friendships that endure are not built only on laughter, but on values, respect, and shared faith. Now, let's look within ourselves and recognize something many people ignore. Sometimes the reason we don't have friends is not found out there in the world, but within us. Before blaming others for our loneliness, it is essential to reflect on our own thoughts, attitudes, and behaviors. At times, without even noticing, we can become people who are difficult to approach. It may be pride, the need to always be right, or the inability to apologize when we're wrong. It may be fear of opening up, of showing vulnerability because we are afraid of rejection, or even insecurity, which makes us interpret everything negatively, pushing away those who truly want to be close. And here is the most important part. These behaviors are not permanent flaws, but opportunities for growth. God gives us awareness of our inner selves precisely so that we can transform, mature, and become ready for the connections He has prepared for us, so that we may improve and become people who attract true friendships. When we cultivate humility, patience, and empathy, we gain the ability to build bonds that withstand both time and difficulties. It is like a spiritual preparation. Every small effort we make to become better reflects directly on the quality of our relationships. If you feel it is hard to connect, if you often withdraw from others or close yourself off, know that this is a call to look within, to recognize these points, and to allow God to transform your heart. Because deep friendships do not begin on the outside. They are born from a prepared heart. Now let's look at the world around us. Loneliness is not always just about ourselves. Many times, it is the result of external circumstances. You may be a wonderful person, full of faith and with a generous heart, and still find it difficult to meet true friends, and that is completely natural. Often, the environment we live in does not favor deep connections. It might be a workplace that demands competitiveness, a school or university where people's interests differ from yours, or even social circles that value superficiality over sincerity. In these cases, not having friends is not a reflection of your worth, but simply the result of not being in the right place with the right people. And here lies something powerful. In His wisdom, God often keeps us away from certain people or environments, not to punish us, but to protect our hearts and prepare us for meaningful encounters. He knows exactly when and where to bring people into our lives, and those people will be the ones with whom you will truly connect in a genuine and lasting way. Therefore, if you feel out of place or lonely, do not be discouraged. Not every lack of friendship is your fault. Sometimes it is simply God's timing at work. He is preparing the paths, the environments, and the right people, so that in the right moment you will find friends who share your faith, your values, and your purpose. And while that moment has not yet arrived, every experience and every challenge serves to strengthen your faith and your ability to connect more deeply. Now let's talk about something that changes everything: the role of faith. When we feel lonely, it is easy to fall into the trap of believing that we have been forgotten or abandoned. But for those who believe in God, loneliness carries a far greater meaning. It is an opportunity to draw closer to Him and to strengthen our faith. Faith helps us see beyond the surface of solitude and recognize the divine purpose within it. Even when life feels empty, God is present in every moment, guiding us, shaping us, and preparing us for relationships that truly matter. Many times, He allows us to be alone so that we may learn to trust, to pray with sincerity, and to value friendships built on solid principles rather than convenience or superficiality. And here is something essential. Moments of loneliness do not mean the absence of companionship, but the presence of purpose. God uses these seasons to teach patience, self-awareness, and gratitude. He shows us that true friendship, the kind that truly lasts, is born when both hearts are ready and aligned with His plans. So, if you feel that you haven't found true friends yet, look to your faith as your guide and support. Strengthen your connection with God, trust His timing, and recognize that every moment of apparent solitude is in fact divine preparation. And when you least expect it, He will place by your side people who not only share your journey, but also walk with you in harmony with His purpose. Now let's talk about something that will change the way you see your life: the signs that you are chosen by God. Many times we feel lonely and think it means we lack value or purpose. But the truth is, loneliness can actually be a sign that God is preparing you for something greater. One of the clearest signs is when you feel an inner restlessness, a sense that there is something greater you are meant to accomplish. That restlessness is God awakening within you a unique purpose, something only you can fulfill. Another sign is when you realize that even without many people around you, you can still hold on to faith, hope, and love in your heart. This inner strength is a mark of someone being shaped for great things. In addition, those chosen by God often carry a special sensitivity toward others, an empathy that goes beyond the surface. You care deeply, even when no one notices. And this is not by chance. God is preparing you to influence lives and to be His instrument, even if for now you don't have many close friends. Therefore, if you feel lonely today, remember this: loneliness is not a punishment. It is a sign that you are on the right path. Every moment, every challenge, and every feeling of isolation is part of God's process to make you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for relationships that truly matter. Friendships that reflect faith, purpose, and true love. Now I want to show you something powerful: how to use loneliness as an opportunity for personal and spiritual growth. We often see loneliness as a painful emptiness, but it can be transformed into a time of development and inner strength. When we are alone, we have the chance to look within ourselves, reflect on our actions, feelings, and thoughts. It is a moment of self-discovery that few truly experience in depth. You begin to uncover your fears and weaknesses, but also your strengths and hidden talents. And all of this is part of God's plan, to make us more complete, resilient, and prepared to face challenges. Loneliness is also an opportunity to draw closer to God in a deep and intimate way. Without external distractions, you can hear His voice more clearly, understand His teachings, and receive guidance for your life. This time of silence and reflection strengthens faith, develops patience, and teaches us to value quality relationships over quantity. So instead of lamenting the absence of friends, see loneliness as a gift. Every moment alone is divine preparation, a chance to become someone who attracts genuine connections and builds lasting friendships based on values, faith, and purpose. Loneliness stops being a burden and becomes a tool for growth. And when you finally meet the right people, you will be ready to share your life in a deep and meaningful way. Now that we understand how loneliness can be an opportunity for growth, let's talk about something very important: how to discern who the right people are to build true friendships with. Often the rush to avoid loneliness makes us open space for just any kind of company. That's when superficial relationships appear, ones that hurt or disappoint us. This is why discernment is essential, and this discernment comes from two main sources: the wisdom gained during times of solitude, and most importantly, our connection with God. When you place your life in God's hands, He gives you clarity and signs to recognize who truly deserves to walk by your side. You begin to notice small but important things. Does this person respect your values? Do they listen sincerely? Do they rejoice in your victories? Are they willing to correct you with love? These are signs of someone who can become a true friend. On the other hand, you also learn to recognize those who do not contribute to your growth and walk with God. Pay attention to your energy and the people around you. Distance yourself from those who don't come from God's purpose. True discernment is spiritual, helping you recognize the right people to walk with you. Even in deep loneliness, God is working. By turning to prayer, His word, and surrendering your pain, loneliness becomes a time of growth and preparation. Gradually, God brings the right people into your life. Friends who share your faith, values, and purpose. Loneliness is not a punishment, but a season of divine preparation. When real friendships arrive, they are not coincidences. They are God's design. Use moments of solitude to draw closer to Him. Trust His timing and prepare your heart for meaningful connections. Prayer and trust in God transform loneliness into a time of growth and preparation. True friendships come in God's timing, and the most faithful friend you will ever have is Jesus, who never abandons you. Loneliness is not punishment. It is a season to grow, reflect, and prepare your heart for meaningful connections. Even when the world leaves you alone, God is shaping you for deeper friendships, purpose, and lasting transformation.